Welcome to a Controversial World with John. Today's video is going to be Bill Gates, a timeline to a pandemic. So what I'm going to be discussing with y'all today is a little background on Bill Gates. With all the coronavirus and stuff going on, I just, started researching a little bit, kind of found it funny with what's led up to what we've got going on now, and Bill Gates trying to now be the one to help save the world with a vaccine. But his hands aren't really as clean as he makes it seem. Alright, so most of us, Bill Gates was born October 28, 1955 as William Henry Gates III. In 1975, Bill Gates, who we all know, co-founded Microsoft, Windows, Gates was CEO until stepping down in January 2000. Since 1987, Gates has been included one of the world's wealthiest individuals by Forbes. In 2009, Gates and Warren Buffett founded the Giving Pledge. The Giving Pledge is where billionaires give at least half their wealth to philanthropy, which is to save lives and improve global health. On February 4th, 2014, Gates stepped down as chairman of Microsoft to become technology advisor alongside of CEO Satya Nadella. March 27, 2014, issue of Rolling Stones magazine. In the interview, Gates provided his perspective on climate change, his charitable activities, various tech companies, and people involved in them, and the state of America. In response to the questions about his greatest fear when he looks 50 years into the future, Gates stated, "There'll be some really bad things that'll happen in the next 50 or 100 years, but hopefully none of them on the scale of, say, a billion people that you didn't expect to die from a pandemic or nuclear or bioterrorism." Gates also identified innovations as the real driver of progress and pronounced that America was way better today than it's ever been. In 2015, Gates does TED Talks about pandemics. Well, with that being said, there's a reason that I have that TED Talks up here. I want y'all to see the video and listen to what Bill Gates was saying. Also, I want to say fair use, because this is for educational value for you to draw your own opinion to. So, let's watch and see what Bill Gates had to say about a pandemic in 2015.
When I was a kid, the disaster we worried about most was a nuclear war. That's why we had a barrel like this down in our basement filled with cans of food and water. When the nuclear attack came, we were supposed to go downstairs, hunker down, and eat out of that barrel. Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. Now, part of the reason for this is that we have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence, but we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic. We're not ready for the next epidemic. Let's look at Ebola. I'm sure all of you read about it in the newspaper Lots of tough challenges. I followed it carefully through the case analysis tools we use to track polio eradication.
And with the part of him saying we're not ready for the next epidemic, that was 2015. Remember, Obama still had not set anything up for the next pandemic. So for all you people hating on Trump, Trump was set up in a bad situation himself for this.
And as you look at what went on, the problem wasn't that there was a system that didn't work well enough. The problem was that we didn't have a system at all. In fact, there are some pretty obvious key missing pieces. We didn't have a group of epidemiologists ready to go who would have gone, seen what the disease was, see how far it had spread. The case reports came in on paper. It was very delayed before they were put online, and they were extremely inaccurate. We didn't have a medical team ready to go. We didn't have a way of preparing people. Now, Médecins Sans Frontières did a great job orchestrating volunteers, but even so, we were far slower than we should have been getting the thousands of workers into these countries. And a large epidemic would require us to have hundreds of thousands of workers. There was no one there to look at treatment approaches, no one to look at the diagnostics, no one to figure out what tools should be used. As an example, we could have taken the blood of survivors, processed it, and put that plasma back in people to protect them, but that was never tried. So there was a lot that was missing, and
Yeah, that was never tried. But guess what? It's being tried now with the China virus, with Donald Trump. He's trying to save people with taking their plasma out and putting it into somebody else. But yeah, don't know why it couldn't have been done before. Should have been tested then, maybe wouldn't have been here. But Obama won't worry about nothing but paying Iran some money. Y'all know that story.
these things are really a global failure. The WHO is funded to monitor epidemics, but not to do these things I talked about. Now, in the movies, it's quite different. There's a group of handsome epidemiologists ready to go. They move in, they save the day, but that's just pure Hollywood. The failure to prepare could allow the next epidemic to be dramatically more devastating than Ebola. Let's look at the progression of Ebola over this year. About 10,000 people died, and nearly all were in the 3 West African countries. There's 3 reasons why it didn't spread more. The first is there was a lot.
And with that being said, Ebola was spread in those African countries where there are mostly black people, people that are black race. But we're sitting here now talking about Donald Trump. This is the coronavirus is a racist thing. Well, how come we weren't saying that back when Obama was in the White House? Why wasn't it racist then? Explain that one to me. That most of the deaths happen in a black country. Yet most of the deaths right now may be of black people, well, African American descent. But we won't blame Obama then for, well, why aren't you helping these black people down in Africa? It wasn't racist then, was it? Now it's racist? Explain that one.
A lot of heroic work by the health workers. They found the people and they prevented more infections. The second is the nature of the virus. Ebola does not spread through the air. And by the time you're contagious, most people are so sick that they're bedridden. Third, it didn't get into many urban areas, and that was just luck. If it had gotten into a lot more urban areas, the case numbers would have been much larger. So next time, we might not be so lucky. You can have a virus where people feel well enough while they're infectious that they get on a plane or they go to a market. The source of the virus.
Kind of strange he knew about getting on the plane, going to a market, out showing any signs where did the COVID virus first pop up that we know of in a market in China that if you investigate, he's helped the World Health Organization, which he is one of their largest funders, fund that lab in Wuhan where supposedly that was ground zero for this pandemic. You can't tell me he did not have his hands in this somewhere. And he's got a good reason to, and we'll speak about the reason in a little while.
Virus could be a natural epidemic like Ebola, or it could be bioterrorism. And so there are things that would literally make things 1,000 times worse. In fact, let's look at a model of a virus spread through the air like the Spanish flu back in 1918. So here's what would happen. It would spread throughout the world very, very quickly. And you can see there's over 30 million people die from that epidemic. So this is a serious problem. We should be concerned. But in fact, we can build a really good response system. We have the benefits of all the science and technology that we talk about here. We've got cell phones to get information from the public and get information out to them. We have satellite maps where we can see where people are and where they're moving. We have advances in biology that should dramatically change the turnaround time to look at a pathogen and be able to make drugs and vaccines that fit for that pathogen. So we can have tools, but those tools need to be put into an overall global health system, and we need preparedness. The best lessons, I think, on how to get prepared are, again, what we do for war. For soldiers.
Global health system. Kind of sounds like socialized medicine to me. I don't know what y'all think. And with most countries with socialized medicine, they tell you it's not as great a deal as it seems. But maybe this is a project, and I'm thinking it is, that is being done on the American people from their government. And when I say government, I'm talking about the senators, the people in the House, the people that rule each little part of the country. It's just crazy that a lot of stuff he's saying is stuff that is now coming out in a bigger picture that apparently he knows a lot more, and we should have known a lot more then. If we'd known what was going on then, we might have could have stopped this. But we'll continue.
We have full-time waiting to go. We have reserves that can scale us up to large numbers. NATO has a mobile unit that can deploy very rapidly. NATO does a lot of war games to check, are people well trained? Do they understand about fuel and logistics and the same radio frequencies? So they are absolutely ready to go. So those are the kinds of things we need to deal with an epidemic. What are the key pieces? First is we need strong health systems in poor countries. That's where mothers can give birth safely, kids can get all their vaccines, but also where we'll see the outbreak very early on.
Speaking about a vaccine, anybody think it might be a vaccine that maybe he's got his name on to where he can make more money? Good reason for him to step down from Microsoft. Let's make a little vaccine for people. A vaccine that'll probably mess you up worse than it will help you. It's just crazy to me. I mean, there are some good vaccines out there. Polio was a great vaccine. Hardly anybody has polio these days. I mean, it goes back, there was a Chris Rock. Um, Chris Rock special years back talked about anybody feel a little polio-ish right now. You know, funny and all. So, no, because we don't deal with polio no more. But if it's a vaccine that they can make more money off of, they figured out from polio. Look, hold on, we can't help everybody, can't get everybody healthy. Because once you get everybody healthy, there's no money in it. There's been no vaccine that's cleared up anything since polio. Oh, and like Chris Rock said in that special, oh, they got vaccines to help you feel better, live a little longer. But you ain't gonna get, you can't have a cure to get rid of the problem because then there's no money into that. And you don't think Bill Gates is gonna get involved in something he can't make money with. I mean, that's not him. It's not gonna happen.
We need a medical reserve corps. Lots of people who've got the training and background who are ready to go with the expertise. And then we need to pair those medical people with the military, taking advantage of the military's ability to move fast, do logistics, and secure areas. We need to do simulations, germ games, not war games, so that we see where the holes are. The last time a germ game was done in the United States was back in 2001, and it didn't go so well.
I think we're doing germ games right now. I don't know what y'all think, but I think we are. The liberals right now, oh, this is what they want. Y'all might not want to hear it, but this is the experiment to see, well, can we pay the American people a certain amount? And don't give me the scrap. Well, Trump is in the White House right now. He's Republican. Doesn't matter. There's so many people below him. If the vote does not go right, that stuff cannot happen. We've seen the liberals right now trying to do anything they can to get what they want put in the bills right now. And I think that germ game is what we're doing right now. They want to see how much the American people will take before they rise up. And with that being said, you've seen in the past couple of days this week, we're getting tired of it. They're not dealing with it no more. We're storming Capitol buildings. We're blocking roads. What was it? Wisconsin? I think it was Wisconsin or Massachusetts. Not for sure. They blocked up a whole road, staying all in front of the Capitol building. Saying we're not taking this. We want to get back to work. Now, I'm not saying it's completely safe right now to get back to work, but what I am saying is you're seeing right now the American people, a lot of them, they're not just going to roll over and be done with it. We came here from a country that tried to keep everybody doing one thing and would just roll over and play dead, do whatever they wanted. And we're not doing that anymore. That's not what America is based on. We fight for what we believe. And we don't believe in shutting down a country for some stuff that somebody else started. If anything, we tell that country, well, look, y'all want to do this, you want to make us sick, we just won't buy from you. We'll make our own stuff. And we may end up coming and kicking your ass. That's what America is.
So far, the score is germs 1, people 0. Finally, we need lots of advanced R&D in areas of vaccines and diagnostics. There are some big breakthroughs, like the adeno-associated virus, that could work very, very quickly. Now, I don't have an exact budget for what this would cost, but I'm quite sure it's very modest compared to the potential harm. The World Bank estimates that if we have a worldwide flu epidemic, global wealth will go down by over $3 trillion, and we'd have millions and millions of deaths. These investments offer significant benefits beyond just being ready for the epidemic.
$3 trillion. Which it got a little over $2 trillion for this bailout that sounds like old Gates could have helped prevent from the beginning. It's crazy.
The primary health care, the R&D, those things would reduce global health equity and make the world more just as well as more safe. So I think this should absolutely be a priority. There's no need to panic. We don't have to hoard cans of spaghetti or go down into the basement. But we need to get going because time is not on our side. In fact, if there's one positive thing that can come out of the Ebola epidemic, it's that it can serve as an early warning, a wake-up call to get ready. If we start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic. Thank you.
So you heard what old Gates had to say. And at the same time, just in the comment section, you can tell me what you thought about this. But I wanted to share a little more with you. In 2017, there was a piece titled, Meet the World's Most Powerful Doctor. Bill Gates. Politico wrote, some billionaires are satisfied with buying themselves an island. Bill Gates got a United Nations Health Agency in Geneva. Over the past decade, the world's richest man has become the World Health Organization second biggest donor, second only to the United States. This is the largest. He gives outsized influence over its agenda. The results, say his critics, is that Gates' priorities have become the WHO's, the World Health Organization. Kind of funny, like I said, you just look at everything, it's linked together in this timeline I'm giving you. He's pretty much in the pockets of the World Health Organization. He dropped out of Microsoft. Now he's all with the World Health Organization. It's just not right. So on March 11th of this year, one day after Business Insider reported how Gates had been pushing for a World Health Organization declaration of pandemic on the coronavirus, one day after Gates announced the infusion of millions of dollars into a WHO pattern venture called Covid-19 Therapeutics Accelerator. That dangled the perspective of putting more regulatory powers into the hands of the global elitists. One day after that, WHO's Director General made an interesting announcement. On March 11th, is what the announcement was. Tendros Adahoma. This name I'm not even gonna try it. I tried. It was crazy. Said we have made the assessment that COVID-19 can be criticized. Characterized. As a pandemic. Oh, so after he goes ahead, give him another good donation. Now we'll characterize it as a pandemic. Who didn't announce the coronavirus as a pandemic until the very day after Gates made that very large donation to a case that benefits who? And then we have on April 1st, Bill Gates has helpfully provided President Donald Trump with a three-step plan on what he needs to do to halt the coronavirus pandemic, and has told him that he really needs to stop spreading rumors about a miracle cure. The Microsoft founder, who urged leaders to prepare for the pandemic back in 2015, laid out his advice in the Washington Post. He said the U.S. needs a complete shutdown and all states must step up testing and has to start work now to speed up the development of a vaccine. Gates said that includes immediately beginning work to build the facilities where the vaccines will be manufactured. He also criticized Trump for spreading rumors about malaria medication that the president has repeatedly name checked as the coronavirus treatment. No, and Trump never did name it as coronavirus treatment. He said it can help with the coronavirus symptoms, and people really need to understand that. Gates wrote, leaders can help by not stoking rumors or panic buying long before the drug hydroxychloroquine was approved as an emergency treatment for COVID-19. People started hoarding it, making it hard to find the lupus patients who need it to survive. And of course, now Gates is working with the WHO to come up with the $1 billion cure in the vaccination. It says, I don't know myself, I don't know about y'all, but I know myself, me, my family, I don't care if got my dying breath going through me, I will not take this vaccine. I wouldn't allow my daughter. There's something in it, I'm sure, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I really am not. But with Bill Gates funding it, he has nothing to do with health. All the evidence you've seen, just think for yourself before you take this vaccine, if they have it. Usually, I'm fine with vaccines. I've got no problem with the measles vaccine, the rubella vaccine, polio vaccine. Take all that. But for some reason, it's crazy that now we have Bill Gates, not a doctor or anything, coming out. For some reason, after quitting his $1 billion company, well, not quitting completely, but you see what I'm saying. Now he wants to be the biggest donor, well, second biggest donor other than the United States, to the World Health Organization, funding them who are helping China the most. Something don't make sense. But if you want more information, I know I kind of fudged a little bit on my explanations and what I was saying. Down below, I will have the links to where I found this information. Got a Rolling Stone interview, Washington Times interview, the Daily Beast, and then I've got the TED Talk link. So go watch these, come up with your own opinions. If you like what you've seen, click the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so when I make more videos, which I keep saying I plan to do more, but life's happening. It doesn't happen as much as I need to. So like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Peace and stay safe.